Happy Founders Day, sorors. My name is Madison Tebow, and I'm the current bacillus of Alpha Chapter, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I stand before you today to introduce a soror who is no stranger to being the first. You see, she is not only a member of the first Black sorority, but for more than 20 years, she has been adding more and more firsts to her list of accomplishments. Kamala D. Harris was the first Black woman to be elected as district attorney in California history. She was the first woman to become Attorney General in the state of California. Not only that, but she is also the first Indian American senator, and in just 5 short days, she will become the first Black woman and first Asian American to be sworn in as the Vice President of the United States of America. So, just how did she manage to break some of the highest glass ceilings in the world? Born in Oakland, California on October 20th, 1964, Kamala is the eldest of 2 children, born to Shamala Gopalan and Donald Harris. Her parents met at UC Berkeley over a shared passion for the civil rights movement. So at an early age, they took her along with them to various protests while she was still in a stroller. After graduating college from Howard University and finishing law school at the University of California at Hastings, Kamala became a trailblazing prosecutor. Her mother chose to name her Kamala, which means lotus, in honor of both her Indian roots and the empowerment of women. Even though Kamala's parents divorced when she was just 7, her mother raised her and her sister Maya on the top floor of a yellow duplex in Berkeley. Then she attended middle school and high school in Montreal, Canada, after her mom got a teaching job at McGill University and a position as a cancer researcher at Jewish General Hospital. Kamala went to both a Black Baptist church and a Hindu temple, embracing both her South Asian and Black identities because her mother understood very well that she was raising 2 Black daughters, and she was determined to make sure that they would grow up to become confident, proud, and strong Black women. One might say that Kamala was destined for a life in politics because even as a young girl, she visited India, where she was heavily influenced by her grandfather, who was a high-ranking government official fighting for Indian independence, and her grandmother, who was an activist traveling the countryside in order to teach impoverished women about birth control. Kamala attended Howard University, where she majored in political science and economics, and where she was initiated into Alpha Chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. After passing the bar exam in 1990, Harris joined the Alameda County Prosecutor's Office in Oakland as an assistant district attorney focusing on sex crimes because she knew that as a prosecutor, she could change the system from the inside. In 2014, Kamala married Doug Imhoff, a former corporate lawyer in Los Angeles, at a small and private ceremony officiated by her sister. Imhoff has 2 children from his previous marriage who refer to Kamala as Mamala. In 2016, she won her U.S. Senate race, defeating fellow Democrat Loretta Sanchez, a moderate congresswoman with 20 years of experience. Sorors, I could stand before you for hours talking about her many achievements, but I will not make you wait one more moment. So, please give a huge welcome to our soror and our next Vice President of the United States, Kamala D. Harris.
To our Supreme Bacillus, Soror Glenda Glover, members of the Directorate, former Supreme Bacilli, and to all the sorors gathered here today, it is such a privilege to be with you and to celebrate the rich history of our sisterhood. From 1908 to 2021, 113 years. It's a long time to be of service, but we have not stopped. And it all started right here at Alpha Chapter, my chapter, on the campus of Howard University, when 9 young women had the courage and conviction to come together to form a special, extraordinary bond of sisterhood and founded a sorority that was so powerful that 113 years later, we are still celebrating. These 9 sorority sisters were so giving. They brought in 7 more members and secured our place in history. Our founders, with the blueprint for sisterhood, walked into the headwind of tradition with a vision for Black women in America and around the world, a vision for equal access to education, a vision for equality in healthcare, and a vision for racial justice. I thank Alpha Kappa Alpha for being at the forefront of social and political progress in America. And I could not be happier to share in this special day with you. Happy Founders Day.
Thank you. I am honored to present this exciting segment of our program, which is a conversation between Vice President-elect Kamala Harris and her line sisters. There is no greater testament to who we are on Founders Day than to celebrate sisterhood. I mean, it is in such a special manner as this, a friendship, a love, a bond that was formed almost 35 years ago. 38 young ladies, students at Howard University, looked for academic excellence, leadership, community involvement, and unparalleled service. That's Alpha Kappa Alpha. So, Sorors, I present these 38 Sorors who have lived up to what it means to be your sister's keeper. These are sisters keepers, classmates, co-workers, best friends, ace spoon coons. And I'm honored to present Conversations with the Alpha Chapter line of 1986, featuring Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. So let's go to Sora Sherilyn.
Did you ever think in your wildest dreams as a college student that one day you would be the Vice President of the United States of America?
No. Not at all. I mean, you know, the first office, though, my first elected office, which was a very difficult race and a very difficult process of trying to get elected, was freshman class representative at Howard University of the then Liberal Arts Student Council. And, but no, I could not have imagined that this is where it would lead. I did not, no.
Sora Kamala, Madam Vice President-elect. That sounds so good. It is just wonderful to see you, and in supporting you, it has brought our line a lot closer together. And I think it was about, 2 years ago at the Essence Festival, after you announced your candidacy for president, we all got together and had an opportunity to reconnect. Do you remember those fabulous T-shirts?
I do, and they were so special, and I'll never forget that afternoon of us hanging out together. I just wanted to stay with you guys all afternoon, and I was running and then moving, and I will never forget. And everybody was looking at us, and they were trying to figure out, how are they so close? Whether we're there or our reunions around homecoming over the years. I think when people who are not us see us, they see the love and the sisterhood that is so enduring and endearing. I have traveled a lot these last few years around the country, and often walking into rooms of people I've never met and people who don't know me. And to see you guys when I walk into those rooms, it's just literally, it's like, okay, that's my center. I'm home when I see you guys, and it's a real blessing. And I don't think I've had a chance to really tell you all how much that means.
Do you remember the ski we heard around the world? It was at your book event at GW. Some of us were there, and of course you recognized us, and we ski weed.
I remember that so well. And I get on stage and we start the interview, and then Jonathan Capehart says, "So you went to Howard University," at which point a bunch of Howard alum and probably students, Bison, said HU. And that you pledged Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And so the sorors ski weed. And it was such an incredible treat for me. And, being on stage, I couldn't ski weed back. But here's the thing that was really interesting about that it was heard around the world because, as you remember, Debbie Ann, there was a reporter in the audience who did not attend an HBCU, was not a member of a sorority, at least not Divine Nine sorority, and basically wrote, oh, there's such enthusiasm for Kamala Harris that there are people in the audience who are shrieking. At which point, Black Twitter went bananas and engaged in a public education about who we are as a sorority, as the oldest Black sorority in the United States, committed to service, committed to scholarship. And it was a really an interesting moment in terms of what we are all still doing to chart a path that in many ways, in many situations, has not been charted, and to show people what it looks like, which, you know, again, gets back to just our founders and who they were and the kind of legacy that they left us that we are living.
How would you describe your impressive and historic climb from prosecutor to district attorney of San Francisco to attorney general of the great state of California to the United States Senate to now the vice presidency elect?
Well, I would say that it in many ways started when we all joined our beloved sorority and at Howard University, right, where we all had the blessing of a first-class education in a place that has been historic in its role and its responsibility to produce leaders in our country. We reminded each other that we are not alone, that there are many like us, so there are many who are walking in the room with us. Mm-hmm. You start something, see it through to completion, know that there will be challenges, know that it will be difficult, that the road will be rough. Not to mention what we learned, that there are certain things that must be addressed for what they are, which is a serious matter. Recognizing
that's it. A serious matter.
It's a serious matter. To be able to achieve success is always a function of a community of many. There is nothing about what I've achieved that was about me alone. It was about the support. It was about the encouragement. It was about, you know, those moments where you might trip and having a community, having a sisterhood, having a family that, you know, might laugh with you when you trip, but then helps you pick back up and pushes you back out. And that's what it's been about. But it's also been about, you know, what we learned in our sorority, that we must live a life of service. And I was talking to my team and I said, look, when we talk about service and what we do in valuing service to community, this is not about charity. Service is it's about a duty, right? And that's what we were taught and what we know and how we have lived our lives. This is what you do as the price, if you will, for occupying a place on this earth. It is expected of you, and that is a life you must live in addition to all the other roles that you play in your family and in your community and your profession. And a lot of that influenced and has driven my path to this moment.
Soror Kamala. Sadly, we have lost two of our precious gems. That's Soror Melina and Soror Joy. In 1986, Soror Melina was the force behind a major fundraiser called the Stop Hunger Fast, where we raised $10,000 to send food and clothing to 27 African tribes. We even received a Distinguished Award, a Service Award from Africare. And so just as you were saying, how did the service we performed as undergraduate sorors influence your commitment to a life of public service?
They both passed far too young, and they will always be a part of who we are as a line. It really was, I mean, I'll never forget our service projects, you guys, I'm sure y'all remember, right? And, you know, one of the things that I think was reinforced early on in terms of our sorority's commitment to service is that there is joy in that. And you know, and because the way that we did it was to do it together also, it's about the collective that reminds us that we're in this together, that we do things together, that it's about collaboration, that it's about coalition, that it's about bringing people together around a common purpose. And it is a reinforcement of the fact that that life and our purpose in this world is so much bigger than just ourselves.
We so miss Melina and Joy. I just love when we have these opportunities to get together, whether it's physically or virtually like today. And so as I think back, we were both seniors when we were initiated.
Yes.
And I feel like you have done a great job of continuing to forge the bond. What are some of the other ways that you have stayed connected for almost 35 years?
I know, isn't that something? And
Yes.
First of all, let me just say, it feels like yesterday. It does require a kind of a commitment, like any relationship, to stay engaged as much as possible. And I think that's one of the things that is very, I don't want to say unique, because I don't think it is, but it's very special about our line. Every one of us has made a commitment to stay in touch and engage. And I think that's really, it's just very special. And it's a real blessing.
So close your eyes for a moment. First Sunday, chapel at Rankin, greetings. Tell me what was going through your mind.
I mean, I'll never forget that day. I think that there was everything about that moment that required us to understand this was serious, that we were making a serious commitment, and that we were all in it together. And in that way, each one has an impact on the other. You know, there were so many principles in a way that were reinforced by just that construct of that day. This is about sisterhood that is also blanketed, you know, by our faith. I'll never forget it. And there are apparently a lot of photographs to remind us. I want to tell all my line sisters about Dr. Glover. She has been so incredible in her sisterhood, and really in so many ways about the tenets of what it means to be a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And I just have to tell you all, she has been extraordinary with her support, with her encouragement, with her role of leadership, and all in the spirit of our sisterhood. And so any moment and any time that you all have the ability on behalf of your line sister to thank Dr. Glover, please do, because she has been just a rock to me. And in the spirit of our sisterhood and our sorority, just really lifted me up so many times. And Dr. Glover, I just want to thank you in front of everybody. I hope I do often enough privately.
Thank
Thank
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.